Viktor Orbán is expecting a big wave of refugees to arrive from Ukraine next week. He was visiting a checkpoint near Hungary's border with Romania and Ukraine, and Orbán has said that more border guards would be stationed there next week to cope with the growing number of refugees. Our hearts go out and for all those who've had to flee from their homes, given the war has now crossed 20 days into its fourth week, and more refugees expected, and how other European countries are preparing for it.
Suesha, you know, just a short while back, Shivani was reporting for us from Poland, and Poland is the country that has taken the most refugees. Over 1 million refugees apparently have crossed over into Poland as well. And here now it's Hungary that we're speaking about. Now remember, Suesha, Hungary has been a country that has been largely non-committal, and it has not wanted to take sides in this battle. For instance, Hungary was the first to say that it will not take action in terms of imposing sanctions against Russia. It also said that it will not supply weapons nor allow the use of its territory to supply weapons to Ukraine. It wants to stay out of this conflict, but the refugee influx is something that even Hungary cannot, as much as it wants, wash its hands off, because it shares a border with Ukraine, and there are people who are heading out of Ukraine from all directions, wherever a humanitarian corridor may allow, wherever it is possible that they can get away without getting hurt or injured or in harm's way. They are escaping and fleeing, and in total 3 million refugees have fled the country. It is one of the largest humanitarian disasters that we've ever seen, and clearly the Hungarian leader now is trying to get his borders ready, because a lot of process is involved. The taking in of refugees, Suesha, since 2015 and 2014, since the Syrian influx, has been a topic of discussion in Europe. But now a lot of countries acquiescing, opening their borders to allow the influx of refugees from Ukraine who are fleeing the devastation in their homeland right now. So I think that's where we are, Suesha.
Ankit, in fact, you just mentioned Poland taking the largest number of refugees from Ukraine, and Shivani also reporting from there, so having sent us that report from Warsaw and Poland. Let's play out that report for our viewers to give them a sense of what Poland is doing for these refugees.
As the war continues, it is the 22nd day when the Russian offensive is continuing, and especially in the city of Kharkiv, we are seeing the visuals of how Russian forces are now attacking even the residential buildings. And remember, there was a report in which it was said that in Mariupol also there was a theater in which people were taking shelter, and that was also bombed by Russian forces. So now each day new attacks are coming in and are being reported about from Ukraine, and there is no stopping, it seems, for the Russian forces. And on the other hand, we are seeing a continuous influx of refugees in Poland, in Slovakia, in Hungary, in Romania, and other Western European Union nations. So on the one hand, people are just not feeling safe even in the western part of Ukraine now, because so far Lviv was considered to be a safe city in Ukraine, but there also we've seen that close to the Poland border there was an attack by the Russian forces in which 35 people had lost their lives, So now these attacks are continuing in Kharkiv. Especially we see the devastating pictures of the buildings catching fire in which even people were taking shelter. So that is the kind of offensive that continues on the 22nd day. And President Zelensky and his executive council have also called for leaders from Georgia, the president of Georgia, to come to Kyiv and negotiate and help Ukraine in the time of crisis. So President Zelensky is not only holding the battle, but he is also calling for diplomatic channels to come and intervene and find a solution to this war in which millions of people are getting impacted. 2 million people have already been displaced, and every second one child is losing home. So that is the kind of devastation that's taking place.